Let's talk about some comedies now because The Last Man on Earth had its fifth season of season two. Full spoiler for the episode entitled Crickets.
It's fifth
That's right, I'm going
season.
backwards. I'm going inverse for my dyslexic listeners. Just for you. in, in this episode, Phil finds out Todd's secret in the freezer, and Melissa gets a cut on her finger.
Such a good plot description. Melissa gets a cut on her finger.
Yes. That was a part of the IMDb description. I do like the Last Man on Earth ones. They keep it vague and interesting.
Yeah.
So it was bacon. That's when Todd was going into the house and saying, "Daddy's home." He was talking about bacon.
Yeah. It wasn't an affair. Well, it was, but it was an affair with bacon.
With bacon. What did he say? He said there were like 44 packages or something. And they were down to like 12. He eats so much bacon. And I mean, it was like the montage of them eating it was, I felt like I was just watching them create Tumblr GIFs, you know?
Oh.
Just like, bacon.
Then they started.
So last week it was the cheese. I remember last week because it was the cheese, and now it's bacon. You just like watching people eat things, don't you, Alex?
Well, to be fair, last week it was him throwing up the cheese. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that's what a little bit different.
This week was just eating the bacon. But yes, to respond, yes, Alan, you're completely correct there. I thought it was a pretty funny episode, and you know, it's all obviously all just about Todd and Phil or Tandy, whatever, becoming friends again and having a reason for it to be legitimized. So, but how funny was it for you, Peter?
Yeah, no, it was funny. I found myself laughing quite a bit. I can't remember any specific lines that got me, but there was a couple of lines in particular that made me bust a gut. I think the scene where Phil is trying to figure out how to dispose of the evidence, and he's like, "I can burn it," and he looks over and there's just the perfect equipment to burn something. There's a gasoline can, and then there's something else. And then he sees this, like the jet ski, and he's like, "Bingo!" I'm like, "Why?"
Because he's the man we've been watching for a season and a half.
Of course, at the ending, when they put both of them in the the medieval headlock thing with the hands in it, and I'm like, okay, it was impressive enough that you had one of these contraptions kicking about, but now you've got two of them, one for each of these people. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that kind of stuff, you just kind of got to just go with it a little bit. I mean, it's like, what, the other week we had like a beach full of dead whales, and it's like, so they've just been here, and like, what about all the other animals? Wouldn't there just be animal carcasses everywhere? But, you know, the logistics of just owning one of these crazy things is pretty ridiculous. Hey, maybe Gordon was into some really kinky shit. Who knows?
Possibly.
If he thought he was the last man on Earth, maybe he just wanted to go out with a bang. But yeah, I mean, fun episode, but not a whole lot to talk about. Just a lot of fun bacon jokes, which sounds really trite, but hey, whatever.
Also, I loved how, actually, my favourite sort of running thing in the episode was he kept referring to the packets of bacon as bacons. We have 3 bacons left. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he means 3 packets. It was weird.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what Wonder Bread means in relation to females, Mario. But that was The Last Man on Earth.
Oh, man. Alan, you and I
Yes.
should talk about this week's episode of The Muppets.
We should.
Season 1, Episode 5, Walk the Swine. Yeah, get those puns in. Full spoilers follow, if spoilers ever applied to The Muppets. Miss Piggy and Reese Witherspoon have a heated rivalry. And Fozzie and his girlfriend, Becky, hit a rough patch.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah. So what did you think, Alan?
It was more of the same. It's just kind of a good time. I mean, it's nothing like super dramatic or super, nothing that you have to like really, really pay attention to. It's just like something there that you can just watch and then enjoy for 20 minutes and move on.
Yeah.
Um, I like, I love how Miss Piggy has to have a rivalry with basically everyone. Because that's pretty much like her running thing, is that she just has to have a rivalry with every single person that comes on her show. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
she got an Oscar for this role that I was offered but turned down. I can't believe this.
Yeah, which at first I thought would get annoying. I was like, all right, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense for Miss Piggy, but like it's only been 5 minutes in the show. How long can this really go on for? But they did a really good job of doing like keep adding on and on and on until it gets to ridiculous levels until we get an I'm sorry song that is like
It's a rap video
is a rap video
by
completely.
Miss Piggy at the end.
And then you gotta love Kermit's line afterwards. Where it's like you gotta hand it to her. I mean, she really knows how to win over somebody. Although all the money was spent on that one performance could have built like 5 homes. Yeah,
It was good,
but yeah,
but Fozzie again is like the main secondary storyline as he's been throughout the other episodes, and like he's just got these terrible jokes that he tells at a comedy club, but then he realizes that if he makes fun of his girlfriend, that people will really really love him and all his jokes, and he just constantly makes fun about her, how much she sweats. And she ends up like getting really pissed off because she's there listening to it. She's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I love how the cockroach guy was like,
the shrimp.
I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of I love salt water. Do you have a sister? And he like rubs up on her. It was hilarious.
There's just something to watching Muppets deliver these lines.
Yeah.
Oh god, what was it? There was a nice little Sam the Eagle moment because him as the censor is like, is Piggy gonna say something terrible? Is she gonna? It's like, you think she's gonna swear? We're gonna have to bleep something? And he's like, I have everybody on call just in case.
It's like I have the button ready. He's
Oh, I
got
got it right.
got it in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. What do you think about the fact that there's been a full season order? I mean,
I mean, people must like it if that's the case.
yeah,
And I think that goes against everyone that was kind of like hating on it from the get go about it not being what it was whenever it was in the 70s or the 80s or whenever it was to now. I mean, I think that says a lot. It's like, they can be different and still be funny and have the same sort of sense of humor that they had just in a different context.
yeah, exactly.
So I like that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. So that's this week's Muppets.